Hey YouTube, TK here. Just like to start off with saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year to all. Thanks for watching my videos for the last few months. It's been a blast seeing my channel, getting up there. We're nearly at 200 subscribers, so thank you all for doing that for us. But carrying right along, in this video we've got two minis. One is a 998, actually insane that both of the 998s in two very different states. One is a little bit worn out, unfortunately, which does present some issues for me. And the next one is one that I've already tuned, and I've actually rebuilt the engine in that one. But this has just done its mileage, and it's back for its service and rechecks. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Here we have a wee lovely Mini 1000, 1979. All very standard and all very nice. So, there's a couple of things going on with this car. So this one has got play in the throttle shaft. So we will be changing the carburetor, but before changing the carburetor, because I'd already taken this one for a drive and it did come across as quite lean, I'm going to show you guys and girls, whoever's watching, what's going on with the fueling in this. So, I haven't set up anything with the ignition system, it's as is. Now this had been set up by another garage previously. Again, this is just to educate people on how wrong they can be, even just going off book specs. So again, I haven't touched this car. I haven't touched the mixture on it. I haven't touched anything at all. Go straight over here, and you'll see that it's instantly too wretched idle, which really makes for a nice idle, smooth idle. But as soon as we get up, there's 1500 RPM, there's 2000, there's 3000, there's 3.5, there's 4. As you can see, far too rich down low and it starts to lean out. So I'm going to now set the idle mixture on this and we'll go back through that. So I wanted about 13.8 to 14 AFR at idle. Again, I haven't checked the ignition system. I suspect that this one is a 3 ohm system. So now we'll go up through the rev range, and after getting that mixture essentially baselined, there's 1500. There's 2000. There's 3000. See, this time it went really rich at the top end. It was basically as lean as I'd want it through, 3 to 4,000 RPM. And just to show that it's coming back. Now if I wiggle that
throttle shaft. Let's see what happens. There it goes. So I'm having to work against the spring tension there just to get that to go across. So I'll just push that forward, push it back towards the firewall. So all I'm doing here is just pushing on that. So what I'll do now is I'll go through the ignition system, and then I'll get to replace that carburetor, and then we'll start dialing it in correctly. So I've gone through, checked the cap, the leads, got good dwell angle. The coil is showing a little bit of a high resistance, so I'll just advise the customer that it's going to need to be replaced very soon. As you can see, I've got the spark plugs out, and I'll just show you those really quick. These are Champion N9YCs, which is unfortunately the wrong heat range for this car. So these are the equivalents to BP60S, and naturally they haven't been gapped. There are some massive gaps in these, so I'll get some BP 5S plugs in that at 25 thou. I know this camera doesn't focus very well, but you can see the spark plug gaps here compared to these, which is a lot smaller. These are measuring at about 39 to 42 thousandths of an inch, so yeah, there's going to be quite an improvement just by fitting these with the correct gap as well. So yeah, plugs back in now. I'll start it up and I'll go through the ignition timing. Right, so that's the ignition timing sorted out. Now I'll get on to replacing the carburetor and getting that all set up. So as you can see, I've got the carburetor off. Down here, just taking the needle out of it just to check to see what needle it was. Amazingly, not an ADE, but what I have found is this was the old spring that was out of it. This is a new one from Berlin, and you can see the difference in length. So obviously with a rebuilt carburetor you should always see a new spring in there, and that does not look very new. Right, so here's the fully reconditioned carburetor with a new spring. I'm using the original needle for now, just so I can map out exactly what it's doing, so I can make a selection on needle or modify the needle that's already in it. Already I'm thinking it's going to need a different needle just from the previous runs, but I want to double check to see how different they are compared to between the two carbs. So I'm just going to let this warm up a little bit. I'll just show you where I've got the mixture set to in this case. So this is setting the idle mixture, essentially baselining it, but for the ignition system. Obviously you can have, if you've got a high power ignition system, you can run them a lot cleaner, but on a 3 ohm system like this, it's going to be like 13.8 to 14.2 at the high end. So I'll just show you where I've got it. That's really nice and stable, so I'll go through and see what the fueling's doing now. Hey Rob. That's 1,500 RPM, 2,000 RPM. Than that, it just needs a complete needle change. This is what we've got now. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it was.
2,000. 4,000. Obviously you can see it just gets a wee bit rich at that top end, and I mean that was my mistake. I did nick the needle, but I mean that'll also help with acceleration. But I'm happy with that. It's a lot better than what it was when it came in. I've just got to sort out the dent and the tuning on it now, and then it's basically ready for a road test. You can see just here. Turned back quite nicely. So just following up on the yellow Mini that I was just tuning. Yeah, I wasn't actually that happy with it in the end. The needle choice I'd gone with under acceleration was actually going far too rich. So yeah, the part throttle from idle through to about 3,000 was okay, but as soon as it dipped off, that as I say, that would give it good acceleration, which it would have if it been able to actually burn it properly. So yeah, I ended up going to a leaner needle option. We tried a whole lot of different things to just try and pull fuel out of it. It wasn't the easiest of cars to dial in the end. I actually spent another about 3 or 4 hours on it, just trying to get the fueling closer to where it needed to be. Because yeah, obviously as you can see, like it's dipping into the 12s right at the end there. So yeah, I ended up going with an AAC needle and just modifying that for part throttle. But yeah, I had to do some dampener modifications still. But yeah, it's the customer actually took it away, and it did also get a drilled airbox too, just to try and make it lean enough again. Just a factory airbox on it. But yeah, the customer took it away. He called in yesterday and just to let me know what it was like, and he said, it's smoother. He says, it's got a little bit more power. But what we obviously found was it had lower compression on cylinder 2, and there was some leakage when we did a leak down test as well. So there was only so much obviously we could go forward with that, but obviously the spark plugs unfortunately couldn't clean up unless I went to a set of BP4S. So obviously to basically clean the plug, essentially, but that's all that'd be achieving. But yeah, it's a bit of an oil burner, unfortunately. I've talked to the customer and I said, this is what we could do in the future. It probably it needs a rebuild, essentially. We could make it more efficient by doing a cylinder head, doing a valve grind on it, just so it seals nicer, because there was just 20% leakage on cylinder 2 as well. So that would be why the compression had dropped on that cylinder as well. So yeah, some work to be done, but obviously still a wee bit of an improvement has been made with what he's already got. So hopefully he's able to enjoy that a little bit more now, until he decides that it's time to pull the engine out or replace the engine. So yeah, anyway, that's enough of that car. Obviously I spent quite a lot of time on that off camera. I just didn't have time to pick up the camera. I was thinking too much. So anyway, we'll get into the next Mini. Right, some of you may already recognise this lovely Mini. This is one that I've already done an engine rebuild on. It's done its running in period, so now I'll go through and recheck the state of tune, starting with tappets, simply because the engine's cold, so I'll set those to 12 thousandths of an inch. I'll then basically check the ignition system, recheck the ignition timing, and then I'll connect the gas analyzer and just make sure that it's right. And I may add a little bit of extra fuel to the top end. So without further ado, let's get into it. start with taking the airbox off just to give me some extra room. Annoyingly, the bonnet doesn't quite go high enough. Take the hose off there, take the vacuum hose off, just tuck everything out of the way. That should be enough there. Grab the right feeler blade. And that one's already on compression, so already they need to be reset because the 12 just floats straight through. To show you. Very little in the way of resistance here. Same with this one as well. So what I'll do is I'll put the car into 4th gear, simply just so I can roll it backwards and forwards. And I'll go through and reset the tappets. Right, so I've gone through, reset all the tappets now, so there's actually a decent amount of drag on them now. Show you that this wasn't just going to slide out. They've been gone through, so I'll get the rocker cover back on here now. I'll reconnect the breather and the vacuum hose, and I'll do a run up, get it up to temperature, and then start the tests. All back together. Now I'll start it. Straight into it. That choke in now. See how it's just lumping out like it was just a little bit too rich. Sorted itself out pretty quick. So yeah, now I'll let it warm up, and yeah, we'll basically go from there. Just go through, as I said, the usual checks. Ignition timing, I'll recheck to make sure there's nothing untoward going on with the ignition system, and then yeah, we can hook up the analyzer to it. This is just on fast idle at the moment. To show you, I've got it sitting here idling at just under 800 RPM, so I'll probably pick that up, yeah, I might just pick that up just a little bit. Only just a little bit. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So I've just gone up through the rev range just to check the ignition curve. And I'll do this without electrocuting myself on something. In hindsight, I should have probably turned the car off to do this, but I'll learn the hard way. Yeah, it looks like it's moved by about 3 degrees, basically right through the rev range. So I'll just get on to adjusting that now, just to bring it back to where it was. Probably just due to timing chain. Just a tiny little bit of stretch it gets, a little bit of wear and everything. As everything basically settles in. Completely normal, and that's the reason why we do these rechecks. So we'll just get it to so yeah, I've just got to advance it a wee bit. not loose enough. Now I write down all my tunes in a book so I can see exactly where I'd set them to, just for such an occasion, basically. Helps especially when having to do this sort of thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't help me undo distributor clamps. There it goes. Now you'll see that I've got the Vacuum Advance connected, which is absolutely fine because I'm doing two tests on it, one with Vacuum Advance and one without. Now at idle, on this particular carburetor, it shouldn't actually show me any different readings, simply because of the ported vacuum. But as soon as I bring up through the rev range, that's where it'll show me different readings. Just going off the mechanical timing, looks like I'm actually going to have to scoot that back a little bit because it's just over advancing at the top end. So it's actually changed quite a lot to how it was last time it was in. So I'll just do that again now. Write that in the book. Basically got it within 1 degree of where I'd had it originally set. So at 10 degrees of base timing, it was actually going up to 34 degrees total. So I'll just nip that up there, put the vacuum hose back on it, and I'll just recheck the vacuum readings. So obviously this is where you get your fuel economy from. Bang on the money. Total ignition timing of 46 with vacuum. I'm really happy with that. I'll just button down that idle a little bit because it has climbed up. So I'll bring that to about 900 RPM. Might actually go as low as 850. And there it is. So I'll now lock that off. I'll get the gas analyzer sorted out onto it. And then I can just recheck all of that and add any if I feel the absolute desire to. Amazingly, this clamp is a lot easier to do up than what it was to undo. Sweet, I'll get everything set up. So I've got the analyzer all set up now.
So I'll just go through and let's do the first run through and see where we're sitting. So obviously now I've got to wait for the sensor to warm up, which is completely normal. Turn the timing light off, just give this a wee bit of a blip. Sounded like it was a little bit lacking there, so I'm very interested to see what the readings say. Now obviously this is, it's probably going to take a different tune, I will say. It's maybe too lean for it, just on acceleration, but this is where it's sitting right now. So on a 3 ohm ignition system, that is basically bang on the money. So now go up through the rev range. See it spike a little bit, right? So this is just that initial, it's a little bit too much, so I'll see if I can adjust that. Right, that's all done. Ended up modifying the dampener, and it still has, it's now got ATF in it, opposed to what it did have, which was 10 weight. So yeah, that's now leaned that spot out, but I won't tell you how I've modified that. That's a secret. So yeah, anyway, I've rechecked all the mixtures. It's all nice. So now I'll get on to the rest of the service. And then basically this one is done. So yeah, obviously 2 cars knocked out of the way. That second one, obviously with the dampener modifications. Now I say they're a secret. It's really a matter of modifying it to as that particular car needs to. There's a few modifications we can do to them to add or subtract fueling to it. So yeah, it's as is. It's an as-is basis. You know, they're all like needle modifications. The dampeners are just as important. They also play their part, as well as, you know, spring rates and oils and everything else. So they've all got to work together. So yeah, if you can get the needle right, great. But the dampener is just as important. So yeah, obviously, what you could see on the gauge was it initially went down to about 10 AFR, which is absolutely too rich on the snap acceleration. Well, when I say snap, you know, that initial acceleration. So yeah, I did end up bringing that out quite a bit cleaner. But yeah, I was quite happy with it. I wouldn't have sent it out the door otherwise. And as you can see from that first one, I spent, you know, another 3 or 4 hours on it off camera just to get it right. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. Please leave a comment if you wish. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.